What if I told you there exists an animated film so magical, so breathtaking, that it doesn't just tell a story, it takes you on a journey? A journey where every frame feels alive, every character feels real, and the lessons linger long after the credit rolls. That film is Spirited Away. But trust me, it's not just a movie, it's an experience. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, make yourself at home. We talk about movies, anime, and the kind of stories that stay with you forever. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most celebrated anime films of all time, Hayao Miyazaki's Spirited Away. Don't worry, no spoilers ahead. This is going to be a spoiler free journey where we explore the film, its meaning, and the cultural impact of anime itself. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. But before that, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. Let's start with anime itself. Anime isn't just cartoons from Japan, it's an art form, a blend of deep storytelling, breathtaking visuals, and emotions that stay with you long after the credit rolls. Unlike many forms of animation that are created just for children, anime often speaks to everyone kids, teenagers, adults, each person taking away something different. What makes anime so powerful is how it mixes fantasy with reality. You will see giant mechas, magical creatures, or powers, but behind all that are themes we all connect with friendship, love, loss, hope, courage, and the search for identity. Anime doesn't just tell a story, it asks you to feel the story. This is why people around the world, no matter where they are from, find a piece of themselves in anime characters. And if there's one movie that represents everything anime can be, it's Hayao Miyazaki's Spirited Away. At first glance, the film begins in the simplest way a young girl, standing at the crossroads between childhood and adulthood, finds herself pulled into a world she could never have imagined. But this is no ordinary world. It's a place where the line between the familiar and the surreal blurs, where spirits and gods dwell, where every corridor, bathhouse, and forest is alive with secrets. Now, here's what makes Spirited Away so brilliant. You are not spoon fed explanations. The film doesn't hold your hand and tell you what everything means. Instead, it allows you to feel disoriented, curious, and wide eyed. Just like the protagonist herself, you discover this strange world alongside her, piece by piece, moment by moment, and that makes the experience incredibly personal. The pacing of the movie is dreamlike. At times, it's slow and gentle, giving you space to breathe, to take in the details, to almost smell the air of that world. Then, suddenly it sweeps you into moments of wonder, danger, and mystery. It feels exactly like drifting through a dream, sometimes calm, sometimes unsettling, always captivating. Visually, Spirited Away is a masterpiece. Every single frame feels like a painting. The hand-drawn animation is filled with small details that most people wouldn't even notice on the first watch. A lantern flickering in the distance, a breeze rustling through paper doors, the glow of a spirit shimmering across the waters. It's this level of artistry that makes the world feel alive. Even though it is fantasy, still you will believe in it. And then there's the music. Joe Hisai's score is more than just background. It's like the voice of the world itself. It's a gentle and melancholic when it needs to be, uplifting when hope rises, and haunting when mystery lingers. There are moments where the music and the visuals combine so perfectly, you forget you are watching a movie. You feel like you are standing inside that world. But beyond the spirits and the fantasy, Spirited Away is a deeply human story. At its core, it's about growth, about finding courage in moments of fear, strength when you feel powerless, and the resilience to keep going when everything seems overwhelming. It's about compassion, about how small acts of kindness, even in the strangest or darkest of places, can open doors you never imagined. These are lessons not just for children but for adults too. Because at some point, we all feel like we are walking through a strange world, trying to find our place. It is a world so magical, and yet the lessons it teaches are grounded in reality. So, even without giving away any spoilers, I can tell you this: Spirited Away is more than a film you watch. It is a film you experience. You don't just follow the protagonist's journey, you live it. And when the credits finally roll, you are not the same person you were when it began. You came out changed, carrying a piece of that world with you. But to truly appreciate this film, we need to talk about the man behind the magic, Hayao Miyazaki. Miyazaki isn't just an animator, he is a storyteller, a dream weaver, and one of the greatest visionaries in cinema history. His work has this unique quality where fantasy and reality merge seamlessly. He takes everyday emotions, fear, joy, loneliness, curiosity, and wraps them inside extraordinary worlds filled with flying castles, talking creatures, and landscapes that feels more alive than our own. What sets Miyazaki apart in his attention to detail? He doesn't just create settings, he creates worlds. A single background scene in his films can tell its own story. The way wind ripples through grass, the way food looks so mouth-wateringly real, or the way silence lingers after an emotional moment, it's all intentional. Nothing is rushed. Every frame has a heartbeat. And then there's his philosophy. Miyazaki doesn't believe in simple villains or one dimensional heroes. His characters are layered, complex, and often morally grey, just like people in real life. Even the so called bad guys in his films usually have reasons for their actions. That's why his stories feel so human, they reflect life itself, where people are never just black or white. What's even more fascinating is how Miyazaki weaves themes of nature, humanity, and spirituality into his work. He constantly reminds us of our connection to the world around us, how fragile, beautiful, and worth protecting it really is. In Spirited Away, this comes through a subtle but powerful way, making the film not just entertainment but a gentle reflection on how we live and how we grow. That's Miyazaki's true magic. He doesn't just make anime, he makes worlds that feel timeless. Worlds where every detail whispers something to your heart. Worlds where you can be a child again, wide eyed with wonder, while still finding wisdom as an adult. And that's why his films, especially Spirited Away, continue to resonate across generations, culture, and languages. Fast forward to today, and anime isn't just popular, it's a global phenomenon. Kids, teens, and even adults across every corner of the world are hooked to it. From classics like Naruto to modern giants like Demon Slayer, from the epic scale of Attack on Titan to the never ending voyage of One Piece. Anime has grown beyond television. It has become a culture, a community, and for many, a second home. Now, of course, some people look at this and say kids are obsessed. But let's pause and really think about that. Is it obsession or is it connection? The truth is, younger generations have found something incredibly rare, a world that actually understands them. Because anime doesn't sugarcoat life, it doesn't shy away from pain, loss, or struggle. Instead, it tackles them heads on. It shows loneliness in a way that makes you feel less alone. It explores the meaning of friendship, love, and loyalty in a way that reminds you why those bonds matter. It dives into heartbreak, perseverance, and sacrifice, not as abstract ideas, but as real emotions that mirror what viewers go through in their own lives. When kids see a character stumble and rise again, it gives them hope for their own failures. When they watch friendships tested and rebuilt, it teaches them the value of trust. And when they see characters face impossible odds, it whispers to them, you can be strong too. That's why anime resonates so deeply. It isn't just about flashy fights, dramatic battles, or colorful animation. It's about the human experience dressed in fantastical worlds. And in a time where so many kids feel pressure, isolation, or uncertainty, anime has become a safe space. It's a place they can escape into, but also a place where they can learn, heal, and grow. Look at the conventions, the fan art, the cosplays, the endless discussions online. To outsiders, it might look like obsession, but in reality, it's passion. It's belonging, it's people finding their tribe, their identity, and their voice through storytelling. That's the real beauty of anime today. It doesn't just entertain, it connects. It builds bridges across countries, cultures, and generations, and that's why, far from being a passing trend, anime has become one of the most powerful storytelling force of our time. But this wasn't always the case. Today, anime feels like it's everywhere streaming platforms, merchandise, conventions, even Hollywood adaptations. But if we rewind the clock a few decades, anime was considered niche, tucked away in late night TV slots or dusty VHS rentals outside Japan. For many people, it wasn't even on the radar. The real change started when a few landmark works broke through cultural barriers. Films like Akira shocked the world with its raw energy and futuristic storytelling. Princess Mononoke introduced many international audiences to the poetic, deeply layered world of Hayao Miyazaki. And then, of course, Spirited Away in 2001 shattered records, winning the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature and proving once and for all that anime wasn't just an entertainment for kids, it was art. Slowly, the perception began to shift. Anime conventions grew, fan communities expanded, and imported DVDs became prized possessions. Then came the age of streaming, and that changed everything. Suddenly, entire libraries of anime were just a click away. What once required digging through obscure shops or waiting for fan translated tapes could now be accessed instantly by anyone, anywhere. And with that accessibility, anime exploded. Shows like Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, and Bleach became entry points for younger audiences. Later, titles like Attack on Titan, My Hero Academia, and Demon Slayer pulled in millions of new fans around the world. What had been considered just Japanese cartoons was now one of the most influential storytelling mediums globally. Today, anime shapes fashion, inspires music, influences video games, and even impacts Hollywood filmmaking. Its growth hasn't just been about popularity, it's about recognition. Recognition that anime isn't confined by borders, age groups, or language. It's proof that powerful stories can come from anywhere and that the human heart can connect to them everywhere. And here's where Japan deserves endless credit. Anime didn't just grow because of fans, it grew because Japan nurtured it with unmatched creativity and passion. Studios like Studio Ghibli, Toei Animation, Madhouse, Kyoto Animation, and Sunrise didn't just create shows and films, they created art. They gave us not only entertainment but cultural treasure that resonate with universal human emotions. What's incredible is that Japan was doing this long before modern technology caught up, while the rest of the world was still figuring out how to push animation beyond simple children's stories. Japanese animators were already experimenting with hand drawn details, fluid character expressions, and cinematography that felt almost cinematic. Their worlds had depth, their stories had layers, and their themes weren't afraid to explore heavy topics like war, identity, and the environment. Think about it. Spirited Away came out in 2001, and yet its animation, its BFX, and its world building still outshine many films made today with cutting edge CGI. That's the level of mastery Japan brought to the table. Every frame was a painting, every movement filled with purpose. The way they animated food, landscapes, and even silence, it all carried meaning. But Japan's role goes beyond the technical. They gave anime soul. They treated animation not as children's entertainment but as a serious form of storytelling equal to literature or cinema. That respect allowed creators like Hayao Miyazaki, Isao Takahata, and countless others to pour their artistry into works that could stand the test of time. And then Japan shared it with the world. They allowed their culture, mythology, and imagination to travel across borders. The result, anime became a global language, one that speaks to anyone willing to listen. a language of emotion, of dreams, of humanity. And that's why anime today is not just Japan's gift to the world, it's a global treasure. So, what did we really explore today? We looked at Spirited Away not as just a film, but as an experience that teaches lessons of courage, kindness, and growth. We talked about how kids today connect deeply with anime, how anime had grown into a global phenomenon, and how Japan's artistry set the standard for storytelling and visual magic. At the end of the day, anime is not just entertainment, it's a mirror that reflects human emotions, culture, and imaginations. And that wraps up today's video. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Spirited Away and the world of anime, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you never miss our next exploration. Let me know in the comments what does anime mean to you, and if you have seen Spirited Away, how did it make you feel, without spoilers of course. Thanks for watching, take care of yourselves, and remember, sometimes the most magical journey begins when you step into the unknown. See you in the next one.